Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome to this quick video on the Oculus Go versus the Gear VR. Now this isn't going to be really full in depth or anything. I just wanted to kind of give you, I came across the Go is kind of a fluke, and I thought for those of you that are actually interested in the mobile type and standalone VR, just to give you a quick overview and some gameplay videos of the unit of the Go. And then also just compare some of the stuff from my experience with the Gear VR. And for those of you that don't know, I've been an early adopter of the bigger VR headsets. I started with the HTC Vive, then got the Rift, and then got the Vive Pro headset, and I've put some reviews on that and some of the pros and cons with those. So starting with the Gear VR, I got that with the Note 7. So I didn't have a whole lot of time with it because shortly after Oculus suspended the software due to potentially of the phone exploding in your face, which definitely puts a downside to your VR experience. So I had limited use on that, but one of the things I noticed right off the bat was it still had a lot of the ghosting effects. So one of the things you'll notice in both the Rift and the HTC Vive is when you, if like you're ever in your car and your window starts to get foggy and you're under a street light, how you get that kind of casting glow across your windshield. You get that effect in both the HTC Vive and in the Rift, but the offset of that is, at least for me, is being room scale and fully immersive. So when you're moving around, you don't really notice it that much because you're, you know, fully engaged in the environment and, you know, physically moving. Whereas with the mobile or seated type experiences, it's more noticeable because you're kind of, you know, it's not as interactive. So so with that said, that was one of the things that I noticed, and also the depth wasn't that deep. So like if you're in a 3D racer, for example, when you look out on the horizon, the field of view or the depth seemed kind of short. Like it didn't really give you that feeling like you're in a big 3D space. And likewise, it also, at the 60 hertz, when you first put it on, it would take a while for my eyes to kind of adjust. Like it was kind of like if you're just adjusting it, so it was a little harsh on the eyes at first, but then, you know, it gets better. So, and if you notice, each one of these Gear VR headsets have model numbers. So when I got the Note 7, this was the first one, which is SM-R R323. It's really tiny, but it's right here in the center. So that's the one I had for that. And then at one point they had, and that came with just the headset, and I did purchase that at the time I bought the Note 7. Then for the the Galaxy S8 Plus, they had an offer where if you pre-ordered, you would get a Gear VR headset for free. So I did that, which came with this one here. This is the second one. So they pretty much look almost identical. But this one is version SM-R324. And the difference with this one, here it is, I dropped it. The other difference with this model is that it came with this controller, and it also supposedly made it a little bit bigger to support the S8 Plus. And so I did use that for a while, and I guess the overall experience wasn't really that intuitive. It was okay for like, you know, movies, Netflix and things, but when it came to like gaming and stuff, it just didn't have the same experiences like the Rift. For example, if you wanted just a seated experience, like if you're playing Pinball, for example, it just I don't know if it was a 60 hertz and with the I'm not exactly sure what it was, but playing it on the Rift was definitely a much smoother experience. Now that I got the Note 9, I found that it didn't fit at all. I tried to put it in there and it wouldn't fit, so Samsung sent me this adapter, and let's see if I can show this here. So I can't tell if you can see that or not, but basically one's straight and the other one looks kind of like a Tetris piece. Well, it turns out you need the 325 model. So this adapter they sent me doesn't even work on the 324, which means I would have to spend yet another $90 on a third Gear VR headset for the same thing. Now, I don't know if they've changed the lenses on those or not, but I can say between the two, it still has the same shortcomings as far as the 3D effect, the depth, and also that ghosting, the ghosting effects. Now, I'm prefacing this because these are some potential issues you may run into if you have a Gear VR and you're upgrading your phone. Turns out you're going to have to buy multiple headsets over time if you want to have full support. And the overall experience, like I say, and everyone's going to have a different type of experience, but I would say it was, for me anyway, it's mediocre at best. It's not something that I've ever shown somebody and they're like, oh, that's amazing. Like everyone that I've shown the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift to, they're usually blown away, like, wow, this is amazing. With the phone, it's kind of like, oh, that's cool, but it's not really as that great. So that leads me to the Oculus Go, and which does it's a standalone unit, and it does come with its own controller. And originally, because I wanted to get this for a gift for somebody that didn't have a smartphone that could do VR, and for the price, between $200 to $250, depending on which, if you go with the, I think 16 or 32 gig. I was thinking, well, that's a reasonable price, but I was expecting the same type of performance as Gear VR, because Gear VR is using Oculus. This has Oculus Home built in. So one of the things that I noticed right off the bat is when you put it on, the clarity. The ghosting effect is more like a little smudge now. It's not these glaring, very discrete. It's almost like there's a little, when you have high contrast on a black background, it's almost like a fingernail smudge or something like that. It's very minor compared to the other headsets, including the Vive and Rift. So that was one thing, and also the clarity and 3D depth. I mentioned earlier when I put on the Gear VR headset, my eyes would have to kind of adjust. This was very smooth, just like it is with the Rift. I put it on, you've got the full smooth 3D. You've got much further depth, and so and the clarity, just the whole overall area with text and everything looked really clear. Because even with the HTC Vive Pro, one of the complaints I had about that is you have this little tiny like hole where if it's lined up just right, that's where the text is clear, but then everything around it isn't. So it's not like your whole field of view is really clear, whereas this, it was. So I wasn't expecting that at all. And then when it came to the actual gameplay, a lot of the games run at 72 hertz opposed to the 60, and in combination with the clarity and smoothness, it actually exceeded my expectations. It actually looked better than the Rift and Vive. Now, of course, it doesn't have the full room scale. So when it came to like seated or standing experiences, it was actually a whole lot better than the Gear VR, and even having like the little touches of having the sound on there, it worked really well. So having a purpose-built mobile VR headset is great. Now I do see a lot, they reference you don't need a phone. You actually do need a phone because you have to install the Oculus app to pair Bluetooth devices, where it's the Xbox One S or X controller, the ones that have Bluetooth in it. If you want to pair those, or even the controller itself, those are things that you need a phone for to pair them. But other than that, then it works just fine. Oh, and to obviously connect it to your Wi-Fi. Those are the things that you need a cell phone for, or a smartphone. But other than that, it can run pretty much independently. So in the timeline, I have some gameplay videos showing some of the games, and these are games that I, actually enjoyed playing. They didn't have any hard. I think the clarity and just the overall performance and smoothness really exceeded my expectations. I would be cautious, of course, of buying anything from Oculus Direct because they have a open box policy. If you open it and open the box, you can't return it. So in my case, I bought it from Best Buy. With mine, I have like a 45-day return policy. Yeah, I just wouldn't recommend buying from Oculus Direct, but if you want to get it from Best Buy or Amazon, I think you should be in pretty good shape. And it's definitely having that dedicated unit. You're not going to have to worry about these upgrades that I ran into with the Gear VR. Because as of today, I can't even compare the Note 9 compared to the previous S8 and Note 7 because the adapter I have requires yet a third VR headset, which I'm not going to do. So if you're looking into mobile VR and are cool with seated and standing positions, I think these lens and just the overall experience and options to have headphones or no headphones is a nice touch, and just having that dedicated device and the clarity is definitely to consider over using your cell phone. So, and for the price, I mean, this is like I say, it exceeded my expectations. If you're in this market, I would recommend checking it out because I think you're gonna have an overall better experience. It's really comfortable. I didn't have any problems with the Gear VR comfort-wise, but I mean, other than the fact it does strap to your face, so you're gonna have the VR face afterwards. Overall, though, it's really great. So, again, coming up next are some of the gameplay videos. I just took some raw videos and threw them together. Just to show you some of the different types of games you can play. And yeah, and like I say, these ones I've had very great experience. The only downside I would say is the battery life. It seems like if it lasts 2 hours, it goes by very fast. Sometimes I'll use it for a little bit before I go to bed. Next thing you know, it's warning me that the headset battery's low and shuts off. So, but other than that, like I say, it's for some quick pick up and play and a good mobile VR experience, I would definitely recommend it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Whoa, Biff, what's that? Take care of the lightning, you just take care of your pup. Whoa, Biff, what's that? Doc, don't say a word. 41 gigawatts? Great Scott! What the hell is a gigawatt? It's an oldie where I come from. Whoa, Biff, what's that? Watch me for the changes and try to keep up, okay? Out-of-time jackpot! Whoa, Biff, what's that? Listen, Doc. Don't tell me anything! Damn, where is that kid? Doc, I'm from the future. Now I need your help to get back to the year 1985. Whoa, Biff, what's that? Time machine? Time machine. What's that?
Well, if it isn't Sahel who wriggled off the hook. You and Celia Jane still trying to save the world from little old me? Did she tell you she was my star pupil? But to show there are no hard feelings, I've sent you a little gift. Enjoy.
This must be the peace offering he was talking about. Psychotic madman. What's your situation, Bobcat? Can you help Cypher out?
I'm trapped back here. You're gonna have to mop up those bozos on your own.
You've got this. Just shoot every undead thing that moves.
CJ's dropped in a drink for you. Gives you a real buzz.
Great. Headshot. Reload.
Don't be feared. Just imagine him naked.
you